Hello everyone, this is Void Spirit. I'm here to bring you guys amazing fanfiction that you will surely enjoy. But before we start, please subscribe and like the video for more amazing content. Ch.12. Overcoming the past, Rimuru had just entered the Great Dungeon. Just as he said, Kaori's healing magic had returned and she was healing Kuki and Ryotaro. Shizuku seemed to be thinking about something as she looked at the ground. Kaori approached her and spoke, "Shizuku-chan, about Rimuru-kun." "Oh. He's not the one I'm thinking about. He just stroked my head to calm me down. There's nothing between me and him, not really." She spoke as she waved her hands trying to clarify. "Ah, okay. We'll talk about it later. I wanted to ask you what he meant when he said I attracted hatred for Hajime-kun." "Ah, sure. About that She got her cheeks red from misunderstanding and then she got a complicated expression thinking about how to answer Kaori's question. Seeing that expression, Kaori realized that she knew something. "Shizuku-chan, what is it?" "It's not just that. It's going to be painful to hear. Are you sure you want to know that?" "Yes. If it's something important about Hajime-kun, I want to hear it." Kaori and Shizuku went to Kaori's room to talk. "Good, how to start?" "Ah, yes. Kaori, you are an airhead. That's the summary." "Eh? What do you mean, Shizuku-chan?" She spoke, confused by her friend's words. "Alright then. Finish healing them and meet me in your room later." "Okay." She healed the boys and asked them to report on the events to Meld. "Kaori, you're not at all aware of yourself, especially your beauty." "My beauty?" She looked at herself curiously. "Yes, Kaori. Almost all the students wanted to date you in elementary school." "Eh? There's no way that's true." She denied it with her head several times. "Kaori, remember that boy who came up to us on our way home from school and said, 'I really like you,' and then you replied, 'Do I know you?' and he left crying. I really thought his reaction was over the top, but I didn't think that was it." "It was. Okay, but this was a special case, right? It's not like I'm a boy magnet or anything." "Kaori, do you remember that boy who said, 'I wish we could be closer,' and you replied, 'I'd love to be your friend too,' and he fell defeated to the floor?" "You're not saying that." "Yes, he did too. He also had the..." Shizuku began listing boys who confessed to Kaori without her realizing it. Kaori's reality shock increased with each listing. She couldn't take it anymore and interrupted Shizuku. Stop. I don't want to hear any more." Kaori put her hands to her ears and squirmed on the bed as she screamed. "Prince Randell too. There's no way that's true." "Kaori, he asked you to be his personal healer, Perry." It seems that Kaori's reality shock from realizing her own charm was too great. She continued to squirm on the bed with her ears plugged like a child who didn't want to hear her to-do list. Kaori calmed down. She regained her composure as she sat up in bed. Sorry. Get to the point, Shizuku-chan." "Okay. So first you need to know that in high school it was the same. Your beauty charmed all the boys in our class. They just didn't propose because you always had Kuki and Ryotaro by your side who were kind of intimidating." "Yeah. Okay, but what does that have to do with Hajime-kun?" "So, how you were admired by everyone and how you always talked more to Nagumo-kun, who was seen as an average person. And you were super kind to him. Everyone is always burned with jealousy." "Ah." Kaori finally realized why Hajime was always evasive when she tried to talk to him. And that made his life at school very difficult. "What do you mean by that?" Kaori got a worried expression. "He couldn't make friends. They would bully him to try to diminish his image to you in the hope that it would keep you away from him." And Kaori was an expression of sadness and anger, but she realized that this was something she needed to hear this. "Go on." She clutched the mattress, trying to hold herself together to keep from crying or exploding in anger. "I asked Rimuru-kun once about a suspicion of mine. He confirmed it. Kondo and his friends beat Nagumo-kun almost every day, and he also told me that Hayama was really cruel, cursing you all kinds of things when you weren't around." Kaori had already started to shed tears from knowing all the suffering Hajime was going through because of her. "Why didn't you?" I sobbed. "Ever tell me? If you did, I could." "There was nothing you could do. Anything you said would only make things worse for him whenever you weren't around." Kaori started crying a lot more and Shizuku hugged her to try to make things better. Since that day, Kaori trained hard with the goal of saving Hajime. People began to notice that strangely she also refused to heal Hyama's gang and always left it to the secondary healer Ayako. She would occasionally cast them hateful glances, but they thought they were imagining it. There was no way the gentle Kaori would make a look like that. The same day that Hajime met Yu, the students were on the 65th floor of the dungeon. Not all the students were here, it was just Kuki, Shizuku, Ryotaru, Kaori, Suzu and her best friend Eri. Suzu was always a lively girl, 1.60 meters tall with brown hair. She was very cute with her Chiquita Marias and could get along with anyone. Eri, her best friend, was also a beautiful girl with black hair and a similar height. She wore glasses and stylish dark clothes that made people describe her as smart and responsible. Hyama's gang and 10 other students were also here. Hayama had apologized for setting the trap at lunchtime in front of all the people and was forgiven. But Shizuku realized that he chose the moment when Kuki would be around, because he knew that the righteous hero would easily forgive him, leading the others to do the same. Shizuku, not at all happy about her friends being manipulated, told Kaori her view of things, and Kaori, who was already angry with Hayama after finding out what he and his gang did to Hajime, was even angrier. Kaori was so angry that when Hayama came to apologize to her personally, she simply ignored him and walked away. She did the same thing with his other attempts and ignored him even when he talked about other things. Back to the point. The reason there were few students here was because Hajime's death had left a heavy impression on everyone's mind. The church wanted to force them to fight, but Aiko stopped them. Aiko had one of the rarest classes, the farmer. This class could manipulate crops and make them grow faster. So as long as they had Aiko, humanity would have no food problems during the war. So they couldn't ignore Aiko's protest and allowed only the students who wanted to go to war. The students had grown stronger, and Meld, who was standing next to them, spoke about how with their current strength they could defeat Behemoth. Yet this floor reminded them of the death of their classmate, and it had been traumatic for them all. They were resting as they spotted the stairs leading to the Behemoth's bridge. Kaori was staring thoughtfully at the stairs. Kaori. Shizuku called out to her nervously. It's okay, Shizuku-chan. She spoke with a reassuring smile. Don't try too hard and anything, talk to me. Ehehe, thanks. As I imagined, Kaori is strong, Shizuku thought. Even though Hajime's death was almost certain, Kaori didn't give up and trained tirelessly just for the slightest chance of survival. Shizuku was also here with a goal. She wanted to find Rimuru, who came here alone. The other classmates had this as their main goal and didn't even think about the possibility that Hajime was alive. Then someone who didn't understand the situation and also didn't read the mood approached to speak. Obviously it was Kuki. Kaori, I love your kind side, but you can't let yourself get carried away with the death of a classmate forever. You need to get over it. Surely Nagumo would wish that. Hey Kuki. Be quiet for a while, Shizuku. I, as Kaori's childhood friend, have to say this. Kaori, it's okay, I will stay by your side. I won't allow anyone else to die, and I won't let Kaori be sad. To this, Kuki, who kept repeatedly indicating that Hajime had died, Kaori replied. Shut up, you idiot. She stalked his head, causing him to walk away with a confused groan. She turned away from her classmates and sat on the stairs while shedding tears. Both her colleagues and Kuki were perplexed. Kuki didn't understand what he had done wrong. To him those words were the right thing to do. The classmates were perplexed because they could not imagine the gentle and cute Kaori hitting someone and cursing him. But Kaori was not so nice anymore. Since Hajime's downfall, she began to realize that life was not like an anime where everyone was nice and the villains surrendered without resistance. This new worldview was solidified when Shizuku told her about Hajime's suffering. She realized how naive she had been. Kaori kept wondering why Hajime went to the library so much before, but now she realized. Hajime was the only one who understood how dangerous this world was. He went to read to gain knowledge. Meanwhile, Kaori, who was a big fan of light novels and manga, was having fun with the isekai adventure. After Hajime fell into the abyss, every time she and Shizuku weren't training, they were reading. They discovered several things that the church had made them misunderstand. For example, demons were not evil by nature as it was explained to them. They were also told that demi-humans were creatures that went against God and humanity, but in the books it says that demi-humans just stay in their forest and do nothing for humans. After realizing several things and realizing her naivety, Kaori was no longer so kind. Shizuku sat down next to Kaori and put her hand on her shoulder. Kaori. Don't worry, Shizuku-chan, I'm fine. She wiped her tears and continued to speak. I know he had no bad intentions. I think I was too hard on Kuki-kun. Maybe I should apologize to him. No, this will be good for him to learn to read the weather. If Shizuku-chan says so, then fine. Kaori and Shizuku, who were used to ignoring Kuki's words since they were children. Shizuku, who was raised surrounded by mature people, already knew the reality of the world from a young age and also knew from a young age that Kuki's sense of justice was his biggest flaw. Kaori was the same and only considered him an important friend. That's why they didn't feel feelings for him and didn't even walk away with his phrases like, "I won't leave you," or, "I won't let you be sad anymore." Surely any other girl in the school who heard that would melt. Suzu and Eri also tried to cheer Kaori up with some jokes and amusing ideas. Meanwhile, there was someone staring at Kaori with dull eyes. Hayama, who realized how Kaori had been ignoring him lately, became more and more obsessed with getting her. The horrible plans of that person made him shiver. That person is crazy, but if I follow her, Kaori will be mine, he repeated several times in his mind. Well, I told you that could happen. Be careful. Meld spoke as he looked at the behemoth revived in front of him. Meld-san, don't worry. We've gotten stronger. We are not the same as before. Kuki confidently declared as he smiled. Meld and Ryotaru also gave a fearless smile and set out to attack. Guga. Behemoth stomped on the ground and faced the group with a terrible murderous intent. No one else is going down. We're all going to defeat him. Kaori proclaimed confidently. Kuki's current status. Name. Amanogawa Kuki, 17 years old, male class. Hero level. 46, 36 up pointing arrow, strength. 560, 360 up pointing arrow, vitality. 560, 360 up pointing arrow, endurance. 560, 360 up pointing arrow, agility. 560, 360 up pointing arrow. Magic power. 560, 360 up pointing arrow, magic resistance. 560, 360 up pointing arrow. Skills: aptitude with all elements, resistance against all elements, physical resistance, complex magic, fencing, Herculean strength, teleportation, foresight, high speed, magic recovery, presence detection, magic detection, overcoming limit, language comprehension. Reach for the rising lightning skies. Kuki moved first, making several slashes of light strike Behemoth. Gaiga. Howling as he backed away, confused Behemoth had his chest dripping dark red blood. Great. We definitely got stronger. Nagayama and his team on the left. Hayama and his team in the rear. We'll take the front. Meld-san and the knights to the right. Rearguard, prepare your spells. Kuki confirmed the plan they had beforehand. The vanguard formed lines of defense to stop the behemoth from getting through. Gwa. Behemoth began to run. Nagayama, Jugo and Ryotaru, who were the two muscular ones in the class, used Herculean strength to strengthen themselves and held Behemoth back. Ga. Ra. Ooh, they roared at the same time as they pushed each other. A flash that rips everything apart, absolute breakthrough. Shizuku used her unsheathing technique to hit Behemoth's horn. Ku. Her sword sliced halfway through and stuck in the horn. Meld seized the opportunity and used his great sword to cut the horn. Behemoth was angry at having his horn cut off and used all his strength to throw them away. Kaori used a null impact magic when the four were thrown, and a halo of light appeared on the ground that made them feel as if they had fallen into a mattress. She also used a healing magic on the four. Explosion of light. A huge magic power flowed from Kuki's sacred sword and flew into Behemoth's wound. Ga. He gave a scream of pain. He took the opportunity that Kuki had just launched an attack and threw him away. Kuki gave a groan as he was thrown far away. Heaven's blessing grant power once again, scorched sky. Kaori immediately healed him. Behemoth's horn began to glow red. It's coming. Meld shouted in warning, and at that same moment someone from the vanguard had finished chanting his spell. Absolute virtue. Taniguchi Suzu, who was a master of barriers, used her best barrier to stop the raging behemoth. Behemoth repeatedly hit the barrier to break it. The barrier was almost giving way, but Kaori used a restoration magic on Suzu that reinforced the barrier immediately. This. I love you, Kaorin. The barrier and Behemoth were fighting for a while. Even Behemoth's what horn lost its red color and he stepped back, breathing hard. Fall back, rear. The representative of the Eri rearguard gave the warning and they did as commanded. At this moment, scorching sun. This fire magic that required 5 people attacked Behemoth. The power of the magic was so great that Behemoth started to run away. Guya. He gave a wailing shriek and disappeared along with the flames. We won. Looks like we did. Really? Yes. Kuki raised his sacred sword and said, we won. Cheers of joy resounded. The boys were patting each other on the back and the girls were happily hugging each other. Meanwhile Shizuku called Kaori, who was staring at the spot where Behemoth died. Kaori, what's the matter? It's nothing. I was just thinking that we actually came back here. She spoke with a bitter smile. At this moment a cheerful voice resounded. Kaorin. Who what? Ehehe, I love Kaorin so much. That healing magic was amazing. Without you we would be devastated. Thanks for the help. Hey Suzu-chan. Where are you playing? Jahihi. Do you prefer when I play here? Or is it? Arg. Suzu was groping Kaori's body like an old pervert and Shizuku, who couldn't stand to see this any longer, used her sheathed sword to smack her on the head. No mercy for perverts. She ended with that statement and the returning students continued exploring. Ch13. The Emperor and the Reaper a few weeks later. At the same time that Hajime met with Hydra, the students returned to the palace after learning that an envoy from the Holchester Empire was coming to meet them. The Holchester Empire was an ally of the Harihi Kingdom in the war against the demons. This country was founded 300 years ago by mercenaries and is very famous with adventurers because of its meritocratic system. The empire did not have as much church influence as the kingdom, so for them this whole business of heroes invoked by God to rule humanity was not at all convincing. In the empire, power and money are valued much more than faith, so they didn't come to visit the heroes because they didn't see any value in them. But now the news that the heroes defeated the monster on the 65th floor, Behemoth, spread. The probable cause of the visit was to see if the heroes were that strong. When the students arrived at the palace they were met by Prince Randell, who looked a little down. The reason for this was that before the excursion to the dungeon, Kaori, who was now aware of her own charm, had spoken to Randell, and when he said things like, "Could you stay here with me?" she, who finally understood the meaning of these things, gently rejected him, causing him to go into the arms of his sister in tears. As they were entering the palace, a female voice rang out. "Randell, why are you here? I told you I would receive them. You have been very head down since Kaori's rejection and it will affect the hero's animations." "Don't talk about it." He rushed off while crying. "Well, sorry about my brother. Come, I will introduce you to the envoy of the empire." Liliana was a princess idolized throughout the kingdom and was very close to the heroes, especially Kaori and Shizuku. She felt bad for them that they were kidnapped and were now in an unknown world, so whenever she could she talked to them. They made their way to a room with a large round table. At the table sat the leaders of the country, including Ishtar and the king. Ishtar saw them entering and announced, "Gentlemen sent. They have arrived. Be sure to observe our supreme heroes. We thank you for accepting our request. That said, may we know the identity of the hero?" "Of course. Kuki Dono, please step forward." Kuki approached with an air of dignity with his group behind him. "Oh, they are quite young. May I ask if it's true that you guys actually got past the 65th floor of the dungeon? It's just that I've heard there's a creature called the Behemoth there." While assessing Kuki, the envoy also saw Ishtar's relaxed look and gave her a look of suspicion. One of the envoy's bodyguards also looked Kuki up and down. "May I speak?" "Yes, we defeated him. If you want we can give you a description of the battle." Kuki offered a series of proofs and the envoy cracked a smile on his face. "No, there is no need. How about you battle one of my guards so we can see your strength?" Kuki didn't know if he could, so he looked at the king and Ishtar. They looked at each other and nodded in agreement. "Okay. I guess that's okay. Good." They made their way to the training ground. Kuki's opponent did not stand out in any particular way. Neither short nor tall, neither handsome nor ugly, neither thin nor muscular. He held his great sword down in a casual manner, which could not even be described as combat posture. Kuki was annoyed by this and wanted to deliver an attack that would make the man get serious. "Here I come." Kuki shortened the distance between them as he drew his wooden sword. Kuki planned to stop the blow before it hit the man. But there was no point in worrying about that, on the contrary. Goo. Kuki was thrown far away. The bodyguard took advantage of the moment Kuki slowed down to throw him away. Hey, hero, Is that all you got? Where's your motivation? Rude words came from the bodyguard, who had a disappointed look on his face. Indeed, Kuki underestimated his opponent based on his appearance. This development made him furious. Let's go one more time. This time Kuki was serious. Seeing the look on Kuki's face, the bodyguard gave a smile and said, "There is no next time on the battlefield." However, he returned to combat posture, indicating that he would go one more time. Kuki let out a roar and fired with high-speed movements. But still the guard deflected easily. This man seemed to have a lot of combat experience. He made Kuki remember his battles with Meld. Meld had been a knight for 20 years. Even though Kuki had more strength than Meld, he never won a duel. Don't take it any lighter. Now get serious, or you'll end up dead. He muttered an incantation and a wind blade hit Kuki, causing him to lose his balance. At this moment a bloodlust hit him and the bodyguard lowered his sword. He's going to kill me, Kuki realized. But before the sword hit Kuki, boom, an explosion resounded and the bodyguard was thrown far away. It was Kuki's overcoming limit. That wasn't a duel. You tried to kill me. Is that it? Do you think that in real battle we can say, "Okay, we're done"? You'll end up dead this way. You're supposed to be the leader of humanity, are you aware of that? I know. Of course I'm going to save everyone. What can a child who is afraid of getting hurt do? Someone who doesn't have blood of blood with his sword can't talk such nonsense. Alright, are you ready? I said you'll die if you don't take it seriously. The man gushed murderous intent once again, which made Kuki's legs tremble, holding himself up to stand. This is enough. At this point this duel will turn into a deathmatch. You have outdone yourself in this joke, Lord Gahard. Ishtar spoke after creating the barrier. TCH. I've been discovered, cunning as always, old man. The bodyguard took off his right earring. A white mist appeared around him and from it a different person appeared. It was a man who appeared to be almost 40 years old. Short silver hair and blue eyes. He was lean and muscular. Upon seeing him a commotion began. Your Highness, Lord Gahard. Indeed, this was the Emperor of the Holchester Empire in disguise. At the sight of him King Eric frowned and asked, "What were you planning, Emperor Gahard?" Easy, easy, King Eric the First just thought that was the quickest way for me to make sure. This is of great importance for our future battles. Forgive my rudeness. Sigh, good that it is. Kuki was stunned. Somehow this emperor was the careless type, and his surprise was taken as something normal. With that they ate a lavish dinner. The emperor left his official words of recognition to the heroes and they left. On this night in the carriage one of the emperor's subordinates asked him his real intentions. Meh. He won't do. He's just a child who believes in things like ideals and justice. His strength and charisma are a bad combination, but we can't ignore him since he is the apostle of God. Still, he's not good enough. Did you plan to kill him during the duel? What? No, I just wanted to fix his cowardly attitude. Even if the Pope didn't interfere, I wouldn't kill him. They continued their journey. By the way, there was an event when the emperor saw Shizuku training and asked her to marry him. She refused and he said, well, there is no hurry. In the northern Haihiri kingdom, a blonde man was drawing a giant magic circle around a human body. Kufufu Velda-sama was right. That's going to be really useful. He only needs 20,000 souls and he will become really powerful. I thought they were extinct, but Velda-sama still had one with him. Good thing I'm not his enemy. The man finished the magic circle and walked away. He then began to chant a 20-sentence spell. And from death, the reaper shall be reborn. When the man finished the chant, a black orb that was in front of him floated away. The orb flew straight to the dead body in the middle of the magic circle and merged with it. The body was enveloped in a black miasma and the magic circle glowed in a purple light. When the circle stopped glowing, there was something left floating there. Go. You know what to do. Ryer. The creature agreed in a hideous voice and moved. A few days later, the heroes were at the palace. They were saying goodbye to Liliana to go on their next tour of the dungeon. Bye Lily, until next time. Bye Kaori, take care downstairs. Hee don't worry, we are all stronger now. Kaori struck a pose and tapped her own muscle. The other students also said goodbye Liliana as they were about to leave when emergency. Emergency. A letter carrier came shouting. Since they were at the palace gate, it was normal to see letter carriers, but this caterer was visibly shaken. Calm down. Explain what happened. Here, he handed her a letter with a black envelope. That color meant that a strong magical beast had appeared somewhere. Liliana knew that any powerful magical beast in the kingdom could be defeated by the army, and they also had the apostles of God now. So she didn't understand why the man was in such a hurry. She read the letter and her face went blank. She stood there staring at the letter. Lily, are you all right? No. It could be. Lily? Shizuku tried to call Liliana, but she wouldn't answer. She kept mumbling something. Lily. Liliana regained her senses and gave anxious orders. Guards. Call all military officers, no matter what they are doing. Call Captain Meld too. Take everyone to the meeting room. Tell them that anyone who is not there will be executed. The guards seemed not to understand, but they carried out their orders. Kuki, I need you to call Papa Ishtar as soon as possible. Give this letter to him and ask him to meet with us. Kaori, Shizuku and the others, come with me to call my parents now. A few minutes later all these people gathered together. So, Princess Liliana, may we know why this emergency meeting? Meld's vice captain asked. Pope Ishtar, do the honors. The Pope stood up and spoke. We received a black letter from the north. Everyone was confused. A black letter was no reason for an emergency meeting. What did it say in it? Meld asked worriedly. 3 villages in the north were destroyed by a reaper. Everyone in the room was pale-faced without saying a word. The students didn't know what a reaper was, but from people's reaction they could tell it was no joke. The only ones who knew what a reaper was were Kaori and Shizuku, who had read about it. They were also breaking out in a cold sweat. This has got to be a joke, a nobleman shouted. It isn't. The person who sent this is completely trustworthy. We don't know how it happened or who did the ritual, but it's true. We're lost. Someone muttered. Wait, how many people were in those villages? Meld asked. And everyone looked in Ishtar's direction, hoping that there weren't too many. In total there were 3,000. Meld thought for a while and then spoke. Then we still have a chance. An army doesn't work against reapers, but if he hasn't evolved yet, me and the apostles can win. Everyone looked at the heroes with hopeful glances. At this moment Kuki, who was confused, approached and asked. Meld-san, what is a reaper? Yes, you guys don't know yet. Meld explained them. Reapers were known as evil spirits. They can only be revived with their orbs, which are very rare to find and are also indestructible. It also requires a ritual of which no records exist anymore, so it makes sense that no one here knows how a reaper came back. The reason orbs are hard to find is that they are purposely hidden so that no one can perform the rituals. They suck the souls of those they kill and use them to recover. That's why armies don't work against them, because for each person that died, they would totally recover. But if there were several strong people, he could be defeated. But if the hero group and I go together, I think we could defeat him. Okay. You guys are our only hope. We will also call the strongest adventurers we can find. Ishtar spoke up. Yes, we will pin our hopes on you. The king spoke. Okay, we will defeat him. Kuki agreed and they walked away. Meld and the students were in front of the next town that the Reaper was going to attack. A group of rank gold, higher adventurers were also here. The town was evacuated, but the Reaper was fast and would be able to catch up with the refugees if the heroes group didn't stop it. We have to win. Kuki declared confidently. At the same time they saw something come out of the forest. It was hideous. It had tentacles coming out of its waist that it used to walk. He had a mask over his eyes and a broken-handled scythe in his hand. Ku. Don't be intimidated. Remember the plan. The students came back to their senses and got into a formation that was the same as the one from the fight with Behemoth. The creature let out a roar and set out to attack. Kuki threw 3 blades of light at the creature. It defended with its scythe but was forced to retreat a few steps. Ryotaro used Herculean strength and set out to attack. He expected the creature to use its scythe, but it attacked him with one of its tentacles. He was grabbed with a tentacle and was about to be crushed. Absolute break. Shizuku slashed the tentacle, causing the creature to give a horrendous scream. Meld apprehended this and launched a large blade of light. The creature lost an arm and moved away. Nagayama Jugo tried to approach to deliver another blow, but out of instinct it moved away. That instinct was right. Hya. The creature gave a roar and its tentacles glowed. They began to give off a purple light and the Reaper approached with speed. He was much faster than before. It approached Kuki and tried to take his head. Kuki defended with his sword and the Reaper struck back with his tentacle. Kuki fell to the ground and Kaori used an individual healing magic on him. The creature took off on the vanguard mages, but was stopped by a barrier that Suzu made. "Get out of here, you ugly thing." She taunted the creature that couldn't get past the barrier. The creature, seeing that it would take a while for the barrier to give way, turned around to find another target. When it turned, it saw Ryotaro and Nagayama flying towards it with a punch. "Take that." The two strengthened themselves with Herculean force and attacked the creature. Ryotaro smashed its face and Nagayama smashed another tentacle. The now bruised creature backed away, giving groans of pain, but strangely it stopped with what looked like a smile on its face. Boom! A light exploded in a sphere around the creature. This light was so beautiful, as if it was a light of life. Indeed it was. The creature was using the souls to strengthen itself. "Get ready!" Meld shouted, realizing that something was coming. As the light faded, the creature appeared again. Her previously masculine appearance was now more feminine. She wore a black campus that covered her face and a black dress that looked like a bride's. She also wore gloves of the same color. And had thin tentacles sticking out of her back. The pressure of this woman greater than that of her previous form. A lantern with an ice stone appeared in her hand. This lantern released several ice beams. These ice beams went towards the heroes. Kaori, Suzu. Here the enemy of God shall not pass. Holy interruption. They made a barrier that protected them. The creature advanced towards Kuki, who was chanting his strongest spell. Wrath of Heaven. He finished and cast a gigantic blade of light. The creature, who realized that there would be no time to dodge, stopped and threw two miasma-like black beams from its hands. This beam collided with the blade of light, causing a crash. Meld, who wanted to take the chance that the creature was fighting the Wrath of Heaven, tried to attack the creature from behind, but its tentacles held the sword and threw it. The tentacles grabbed Meld and started sucking his mana. Scorching Sun. The vanguard finished its magic and a giant fireball appeared above the creature and went towards it. The creature threw Meld away to defend itself and Kaori healed Meld with her best spell, but he still didn't wake up. It seems that the cause of the fainting was the great loss of mana. Boom! The creature broke the magic ice stone in its lamplight and threw it at the fireball. This created an ice ball of the same size and the two cancelled each other out. Kaori used general strengthening. And everyone felt better. Kuki noticed Meld on the ground and exploded with anger. "You bastard. You're going to pay. Over limit." Kuki, now with his statuses tripled, attacked the creature at close range. Kuki's colleagues had been disheartened by their strongest magic being nullified, but they regained confidence with Kuki using Overcome Limit. Ryotaro and Nagayama also used their best strengthening spells and went on the attack. Kaori and Suzu were using barriers as the creature tried to get away from Kuki. The adventurers also started chanting magic. Kuki was too fast for the creature to keep up. He gave a vertical slash that it tried to defend and with its tentacles, but they were all cut off and the creature received a cut on its shoulder as well. It gave a groan as it tried to move away, but it hit a barrier from Suzu. Ryotaro punched the creature, causing it to go to Kuki's side. "Take that." No one knows why he had to shout. He gave a powerful horizontal slash with his sacred sword and cut the creature in half. Plof! The creature fell to the ground, cut in half. Kuki, half tired, saw that Kaori was treating Meld and calmed down a bit. He was happy to win the battle against the creature and raised his sword proudly. "We won." The students were going to celebrate too, but they were interrupted. Kufufufufufu. A laugh that did not match the mood at all resounded. Everyone looked in the direction of the laughter and there was the creature. It had been cut in half and was bleeding, but it was still sporting a psychopathic grin. They thought they had won. Now that the students understood. Before it transformed, the creature seemed to act on instinct exactly like magical beasts. But after it transformed, it was different. She didn't give roars when attacked and even let out Meld when she saw the fireball coming, and now she spoke. When she spoke, an abnormal pressure began to come off her. A purple light covered her. The light was gone and took along with it her hood and tentacles. She turned into a woman with white skin and hair that looked about 40 years old. She still had on a black dress, and had a black machete in her hand. "Now we can start the massacre," she declared in an arrogant voice as she gave a smile. Everyone froze. No one could move because of the pressure from this woman. In fact, some tried. Asterisk ploft the head of one of the adventurers fell to the ground. No one saw the woman move. They only saw her standing beside the decapitated man licking his blood in her dew. Kufufu. Blood is almost as good as souls. Ploft asterisk ploft all the adventurers were beheaded. Ha 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 those souls so strong. That's so. Huh. She stopped talking when she looked at the boys next to her and saw a person who was not there and whom she had also not detected. It was a black-haired girl. She had white clothes and cape, she also had a thin sword and a white mask with black details. Who are you? Chloe Albert. Hero.